Hello everyone, back to you in today's second video. So we've already done Rain Watch, having a detailed look with that one in the wet weather that's coming up over the next 2 or 3 days. So you can find videos of that here on the homepage, just scroll down. And it's above the podcast. There's going to be some very wet weather on the way over the next few days. This video will be extending out beyond the next few days. It's going to go to a week to 10 days away. We'll also have a look at CFS V2 for the coming month. That takes us well into July. Just thought we'd start off with the rain. So it's a wet afternoon across southern and eastern parts of the country. Had a lot of wet weather across the north this morning. Most of that is turning showery in nature now. We've got some heavy, thundery showers across East Anglia, stretching down into southeast England. And then a lot of wet weather running through the channel and onto the south coast. Let's just have a look at the lightning detector, see if there's any lightning flashing away. So there's still some lightning across East Anglia through into Cambridgeshire and then down just towards the north of London. So it's in the southeast. I've got lightning flashing away at the moment. There might be some more flashes of lightning this afternoon. You can see there's a lot of wet weather down across the channel, some very heavy rain down there. In fact, let's see if there's any lightning flashing down there. So not much really flashing away down in the south at the moment in the channel, but we can see that there is a lot of wet weather down there. So some really wet weather through the channel heading on to the south coast, and that's all going to be pushing northwards through the course of the rest of this afternoon and into this evening. Going to give some really wet weather overnight and into tomorrow morning as well across many parts of England and Wales. If you want to know more about that, check out Rain Watch. So, going beyond this unsettled spell of weather, it looks like we may get a drier interlude through next week. So, these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. And we're a little bit above average at the moment, actually. It is fairly humid down in the south, albeit with this very unsettled weather. At the end of the week and into the weekend, it's going to turn quite cool. And then we see the temperatures potentially starting to try and lift up a little bit through the course of next week, but only going towards average, really. The precipitation part of this graph is a little bit more enlightening. So we've got all the rain coming up over the next 24, 36 hours, and then more heavy rain on Friday as the low pressure finally clears away and takes a cold front with it. But then after that, you see, you do have a gap of a few days of dryish weather, not totally dry, but dryish weather there, anytime from, say, around the 2nd of July through to around the 6th. And then after that, it looks like it's turning a little bit more unsettled again, actually, for the second week of the month. Although that is a very long way off, and it's in the extended part of the GFS model, so I wouldn't necessarily be all that concerned about that. I think we might get 2 or 3 days of drier and warmer weather next week. Temperature anomalies looking like this, cooler than average for the next week. So this goes from the 27th of June through to the 5th of July. Below average temperatures, not just for the UK, but for many central and western parts of Europe. Precipitation anomalies are wetter than average in the week ahead from the 27th of June through to the 5th of July. So we are looking at quite a cool, wet period coming up. So this is how things are looking with the GFS for Saturday then, and the low pressure's brought us all of the wet weather. By that point, it's finally starting to clear away. There it is in the Baltic Sea. And that leaves us in this run of westerly winds and building a little bit of a transient ridge there from the main area of high pressure that's down across the Azores. Into Sunday, and it's changeable for the north, cloud and rain up there, mostly dry down south. I think some areas could get away with a mostly dry weekend, actually. And then after that, the high pressure is building more strongly there on Monday, the 3rd of July. That high pressure ridging through the country on Tuesday before. So that should give us a relatively dry and quite warm start to next week. And then that high pressure looks like it's sticking around through to the middle part of next week, actually, before perhaps showing signs that's beginning to weaken by day 10, which is Friday, the 7th of July. It might be starting to turn a little bit more unsettled then. Although still really with pressure down to the south and the southeast, you wouldn't say it's definitively unsettled. So even towards the end of next week, we might get some fairly dry and warm weather going down in the south. But in the north and the west, that does look more changeable. The east end of the earth looks like this, so that low pressure brings all of the rain over the next few days. By Saturday, that's going away to the east. It leaves us in this run of cool northerly winds, but it will be turning drier on Saturday. And Sunday could bring a fair amount of dry weather to the south, although the north will still be quite cool and showery. Early next week, there's that build of pressure through Monday and Tuesday, so it should turn drier through the early part of next week. Then that high pressure gradually weakens and starts to allow these areas of low pressure in from both the south and from the west as well in the second half of next week, possibly turning things a little bit more unsettled. But again, by day 10, which is Friday 7th of July, you wouldn't necessarily say that's an unsettled looking chart, but he was still trying to extend a ridge in from the Azores. So it might be next week's weather, after a bit of a deluge this week, it might be next week starts off with a lot of dry weather and then becomes perhaps just gently unsettled with some showery rain up in the north, but still quite a bit of dry weather. So after this week's deluge, it could be that next week is very significantly drier. Just have a look at CFSV2 for the next month. So these are 500mm heights broken down into weekly periods. The first week period taking us from today, 27th of June, through to the 3rd of July. And it looks unsettled. Low pressure is both to the north and over and to the south of the UK in the week ahead. The ridge, the Azores high, is a long way from us, not able to do much for us. So the jet stream is doing something like that. We're on the cool side of jet, and we're under those areas of low pressure. Week 2 also looking quite unsettled. This is the 4th through to the 10th of July. The low pressure, or below average heights, are lifting out to the north, so the jet stream is coming north. We're building some pressure to the south there around Spain and Portugal, and extending in presumably from the Azores high, which is just there. So that might be indicative of what we were just looking at, actually, for the second half of next week. Yes, it won't truly settle down, but probably still a reasonable amount of dryish weather for the south, and maybe a little bit more unsettled at times up in the north. Then we go through to week 3, which is the 11th through to the 17th of June. And, well, very hard to say what's going on with this one. We've got still some areas of below average heights there around Central Europe, ridging up here. Otherwise, it's not a great deal to go on, actually, there for week 3. But by week 4, we see quite a significant change. This is the 18th to the 24th of July. This will potentially bring us our next spell of hot weather, because we have a large area of above average heights building across central parts of Europe, and what that would do, there must be low pressure out here, so what that would do is pull the winds up from the south, rather like that, and that would be a lot warmer and pretty dry as well. So the second half of July possibly providing our next opportunity for a heat wave, but the first half of July is not a write-off. There will be some drier and warmer spells in there, but probably a little bit more unsettled. So in some ways, it's possible that July will pan out very similar to June, actually, which June had a very unsettled start, and then the second half was significantly drier and warmer compared to the first half, albeit now we're at the end of June and we are having another unsettled spell of weather. It might be that sort of summer where the heat waves come and go, and they're sort of broken down, if you like, between quite extended spells of unsettled weather. So it could be that kind of changeable type summer. Let's wait and see where things are. By the time we get through to the end of July, we'll know how the summer is truly panning out, of course. So don't forget to check out Rainwatch if you want to know more about the weather through the next couple of days. Well, rain is coming up. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.